Hi and welcome back to Small Caps. My name is Jess Furtick and today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing Rita Brooks. Rita is the Executive Chair of Tambourah Metals. The ticker code is TMB. Hi Rita, welcome back to the show.
Hello Jess, nice to see you.
Now Rita, let's just delve straight in. So could you give our audience who might not be as familiar with the company a bit of background on Tambourah, and also where does the name come from?
Tambourah, it got its name from the Tambourah goldfield, and we listed with the entire goldfield, which is over 30 old historic workings, which were all 1 ounce per tonne gold. And subsequently, we've been working in that area and drilling. The latest drill program finished at the end of last year. And we've developed several of the areas that are key target areas. So in particular, one area was one Tambourah King, where the first drill hole adjoining one area was a metre at 28 grams a tonne. So we're building on that area, and we're also looking at another area which is further north of there. So we've got several prospects that are high grade gold and quartz.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so just talking about your gold projects, because I know you have gold and lithium at Tambourah. So focusing on the gold, you mentioned, your recent gold results, including 1 metre at 28 grams per tonne. Can you give us a bit more information about that and, what that means for the company, the significance of those results?
The gold was always drilled. It hasn't been drilled extensively, and we're going back to do diamond drilling in the next 2 quarters. So we're going to prepare further drill targets. We've done EM, and we're wanting to get on the ground and look at depth to see whether there's repeated gold in quartz, or the gold's is also dispersed, because the old timers could only work visually. They certainly couldn't go down to any depth. So within the first 100 metres, we've got 2 lots of gold quartz veins that haven't been drilled out.
Yeah, fantastic, Rita. So you've obviously got a lot of follow-up work that you can do at a more advanced pace to old time, as you mentioned. So looking at that, what are your sort of follow-up plans on the gold projects and sort of key milestones that you're looking to achieve in, let's say, in the next quarter?
So we've got some EM that we've walked on a loop survey that we completed. Those targets are ready to be followed up with drilling in order to see at a greater depth. And also we're mapping and sampling some new key areas of mineralisation that wasn't apparent to the old timers as well. In particular, the federal that we drilled was a good highlight, because it sits on its own, and there doesn't seem to be any relationship. And further to the east, we just a rock chip sample went 16 grams, and there's no sign of workings around there. So these areas are key to our work next in the next 2 quarters.
Yeah, fantastic, Rita. Now talking about rock chip sampling, if we can just shift over to your lithium projects. So you just had some recent results that came out at Shaw River. And yeah, those were some very promising results. Could you walk us through, what is the significance of the lithium results that you found over there? What does it mean?
So in July last year, we bought 6 projects from Minrex, which were all lithium projects. They had some first pass drilling. We're going back to Tambourah North, where the neighbours have got some spodumene bearing pegmatites and lithium. So we've commenced there. They're over to Shaw River. Shaw River, the first pass was to sample and map some of the pegmatites where the old workings was on the dumps. So the dumps, we're going to resample the tin and the tantalum in the dumps, and then to identify the pegmatites the tin at Shaw River was an extensive alluvial tin mining area, but there's been no drilling for any of the pegmatites for lithium. So we're going to map closer to the edge of the granites there, the pegmatites that are hitting the surface, and sample those areas extensively to identify spodumene-bearing pegmatites. So when you look at Wildcat, they bought a tantalum project, and the pegmatites are stacked, and some of them also are containing world-class lithium-bearing pegmatites. So we're looking at the extensive tin workings, and the pegmatites there have never been drill tested.
So interesting. So Rita, outside of the lithium pegmatites that you're looking for, the company also announced elevated background lithium, cesium and tantalum. What does this tell us about the potential for future exploration at that project?
In Shaw River, some of the work that's been there's limited work. The alluvial workings would produced extensive tin. So in that regard, the pegmatites are fertile with cassiterite and some tantalum, and only the tin was of interest then. Nobody was interested in the lithium. So to map the source of the pegmatites, to actually see if some of them are carrying the lithium as well, lithium spodumene-bearing pegmatites, as opposed to the cassiterite-bearing pegmatites. But you can have stacked pegmatites. So the near-surface alluvial has been a shed from the cassiterite's been mined, but nobody's ever explored for the lithium-bearing. So that's what our big project and our focus will be, and finding that spodumene will set us on a distinct path to follow up with drilling.
Yeah, fantastic, Rita. Now, we know that you're big on collaboration. So you have a joint venture currently with SQM at Jimala North, and then also with CSIRO for Russian Jack. Can you tell us more about these partnerships and the value that they add to Tambourah?
Well, at Julimar North, we've commenced an earn-in with SQM, and they're planning in the next 2 quarters to be on the ground and test some of their, have access to the areas to test some of their theories, because the area was previously, apart from being close to sitting to the north of Chalice, the Chalice deposits, and to the west of Caspin, it's also been known to, it was explored for bauxite, and Greenbushes were looking for tantalum in the past. So as a result, SQM are looking for both nickel and lithium-bearing pegmatites, and that earn-in will start to develop now in the next couple of quarters. And with CSIRO, we entered a collaboration on over 600 square kilometres of untested split rocks supersuite, which is the granites that have actually host the Pilbara deposit, and this area is 40 kilometres south of Nullagine. It's 40 to 90 kilometres south of Nullagine. So these areas, in particular Haystack Well, the sampling was up to 7,000 ppm lithium, but the source of the pegmatites, we're resuming field work now, so we're going back to actually find the source. There's extensive pegmatites that remain to be mapped and sampled there.
So now, Rita, looking ahead, what are the company's most significant milestones and expected timelines for the Shaw River and Russian Jack projects in particular?
And the work at Shaw River will continue on 2 areas. We're still sampling for tin and tantalum in the dumps. And the reason is that tin is still $25,000 a tonne. So it's still got a good value if we find anything to process. And the other follow-up is that the extensive pegmatites, I'm finishing mapping and sampling to elevate which areas will be our target areas for drilling. We have heritage clearance on part of the area as well. So in particular, planning a drill program will be our next follow-up. in the next 2 quarters once we get the results of our sampling. And then we'll also at the same time follow up with the tin and tantalum in the dumps. They're extensive dumps over 5 kilometres, up to 4 metres, 8 metres high in some areas. So that's a second area of exploration that's there. And in particular with the CSIRO, we're collaborating with their machine learning to isolate areas. Besides mapping the pegmatites, then you have target areas utilising that information. So it does cover a large area, but we'll see it's boots on the ground now.
Yeah, it sounds like a very, very busy time for the company, Rita, and very exciting as well with those partnerships in place. So I just have one final question for you, Rita, and that is, can you give our audience just 2 or 3 key investment takeaways as to why Tambourah should be on their investor stock watch list?
We have extensive projects in the Pilbara for gold and lithium, and they're advanced projects. And as a result, we've got a good team in the field ready to that are continuing the work that they developed last year. And so, following up with that information, we're well funded. We hope to be able to get drilling and test some of these pegmatites in the next 2 quarters.
Well, Rita, thank you so much for your time. It's always wonderful to catch up with you and learn more about what Tambourah is up to. And looking forward to having you back on the show soon.
Thank you very much for your time. Bye.